And today, in this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about Scrum roles. We've beat around the bush on this a little bit. We have actually run some classes or some courses in the past, and I think it's good to just sort of like do a review of these. Make sure that we're clear on what are the people, the roles that make up a Scrum team. So we want to talk about the positions, the roles, the titles, as it were. But all of these roles roll into the Scrum team. So if you're doing Scrum, if you're using Agile Scrum, then you have a team. These are the people that make that team up. There are three key roles for a Scrum team. There is the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the development team. Now that may seem a little confusing because it said, I just said this is the Scrum team, but within there is the development team. But that is a critical, I will say, distinction is the difference between your Scrum team and the development team. And this is basically because your product owner is a single person, your Scrum Master, single person. The development team is a group of people, but they don't have specific labels. You don't have a JavaScript developer or QA or database administrator. It is just the development team. We'll talk a little more about them just here in a little bit. Let's start with the product owner. The product owner is responsible for the solution. This is your representative of the final customer. This is the person that is going to make decisions that are going to help you basically build the solution that works for whatever those customers are. And there's a couple ways they do that. They are going to decide what to do. This is a matter of, do we put this feature in or not? Do we enhance it in this way? How do we move forward with this application that we have sitting where we're at? As such, your product owner is the customer, is the subject matter expert for your solution. And so they're going to help you, you being the team, they're going to help the team figure out what is it that makes this solution worthwhile? What is it that brings value to our customers? And along with that, throw out things that are not. If it's just a bell and a whistle that's not very helpful, then the product owner is going to say, let's not worry about that. In a typical sprint approach, though, when you've got a Scrum team, they are driving towards certain goals along the way. There may be within a single sprint a theme or a goal or an objective, but there's also going to be longer term things that are going to take a couple of sprints. And this may be something like we'll call it like a version 1.0 release that we're working towards, or maybe a minimally viable product, an MVP that we are working towards. As we're building these sprints, we're going through these sprints, we're building an application, we're building a solution, and the product owner is going to help us decide what needs to be in that first or this next release, and what are things that we can push off to the future, that they can come back later. They're not as important. And they don't do this in a vacuum. This is why it's a team. But the key for the product owners, they are to the decision maker. You have a team, but at some point somebody has to decide, yes, we're going to do that, or no, we're not going to do that, or this is important, or this is not important. That is what your product owner does. The next role I want to talk about is the Scrum Master. This is effectively the coach for the team. The goal of the Scrum Master is to make the team better. In doing so, they're going to help the team work better through removing obstacles, whether it's the development team or the product owner. The development team more often is going to have obstacles. It may be things like maybe there's some licensing issues that they have to get worked out so that they can use their tools, or there may be questions that are blocking them. They may need answers to certain questions in order to have the proper requirements, the details, in order to implement whatever needs to be implemented. Now, if it's directly something that the product owner can deal with, a lot of times that's part of the team meetings and the conversations. And then all you have to worry about is the product owner answering the questions. But there are times when that's not the case. And this may even include team members that are, we will say, blocked or utilized by other projects, other resources, and things like that. There may be, for example, within the team, you do your regular status and things like that. But there may be an overarching business or organization status reporting that needs to be done. And maybe that's taking a lot of time because of how the sprint's going. So maybe the Scrum Master helps find a way to get that stuff moved or changed or simplified. And this can take a broad range of realities. There's a lot of ways that this can actually be done as a Scrum Master. It may be conversations with people. It may be research. It may be acquiring certain things. And this is for the product owner as well. So there may be things like the product owner is trying to get a decision and needs somebody else to rattle a cage so that somebody gets an answer. Or there may be a lot of research the product owner needs to do in order to properly build out the backlog. And the Scrum Master may be a part of that. So they are sort of a player coach in a sense, because the Scrum Master may do work here and there, but it's really more a managing coach, more of a coaching and helping the team get stuff out of the way and do the processes better. And within the process, the actual process of Scrum, this is where the Scrum Master is going to make sure that people stay on track, that they follow the agenda that's set, that they are utilizing the tools properly. So they are, for example, making sure that tasks get properly built into the backlog, that tasks are updated properly once they're in the backlog when the team's working on them, that tasks have a clearly defined done set of criteria or state, something that says we have completed this. And then the Scrum Master is also going to work with, and we'll talk in other situations, we're going to get a little bit more into some of the rituals and the activities that occur in a Scrum, or you can see that in some of our other posts that are out there. But the Scrum Master is going to make sure that those activities, like for example, your daily stand-up, that they work and they are utilized properly, so that your daily stand-up, for example, is done quickly, you get what you need out of it, and you move on to work, and it doesn't turn into an hour-long meeting that sucks the whole team in every day. So your Scrum Master is the one at the end of all of this that you look at and say they either, yes, helped the process and the team get better, or they didn't, and in which case that's part of their own thing. They're going to help even themselves look at ways that in that next sprint, in that next iteration, that they can do things better. The development team is not just a person. It is a team. It typically in a Scrum, it's going to be 3 to maybe 9 members. So it's not real small. It's not going to be one person. It's not going to be 2, because you need to have at least usually 3 to have enough people working, enough resources available to make the sprint work, to make Scrum useful. Otherwise, it ends up being overhead that's not really needed. These are the implementers. The development team are the people that get the job done, that make the product, that do the coding, that do the testing, that they do the deployment. These are going to be your technical members. And note, in Scrum, it is a development team. It is not a junior developer and a UI developer and a tester. That is critical in properly doing Scrum. Yes, you're going to have people almost every time. There's going to be certain people that are going to be best suited for specific tasks. And there may even be specialists of some sort where they really are the one that needs to do that task. However, your goal over time is for there to be cross-training and general knowledge about the system that allows you to plug and play people into any task. And there's so many reasons that is valuable. The least of which is that then you're not a slave in a given sprint to somebody, getting sick or taking a week off or 2 weeks off or something like that, where If you don't have that, then you may have some critical resource, a senior developer that is not available. And now you have a whole handful of tasks that can't be done because that developer is not available. That is what you want to avoid. Now, again, the reality is that happens more often than not, that is a fairly regular situation. But as a Scrum Master, that's one of the things you want to work for, is try to find some sort of cross-training and ways to get everybody working towards this goal, which is the whole idea of what a Scrum is get the whole team pushing forward, pushing in the same direction, working together so that difference in experience and knowledge and technical skills can be shrunk a little bit so that you can find a way for even your newest developers to be steady and regular contributors, hopefully across whatever task it is that they are working on. This development team, just to be clear, these are the people that write the code. They design stuff. They do testing. They do deployment. They are really going to drive your estimates, and they're going to give technical feedback. Your product owner is a business person for the most part. Now, they will potentially have technical knowledge and skills, but their focus is the business side. The development team is the technical side. And they are best working when they work with the product owner to help them understand what is the cost, what is the investment, what is the risk to all of these different tasks and the priorities that are being set. So while the product owner is going to really set the course in a sense, is going to be setting priorities and setting tasks, the development team should be a part of that and give technical feedback to help the product owner make decisions that are well informed. At the end of this, it is key to understand this is a team. The Scrum team should work together, and they should be looking at ways to incrementally improve, and that increment being by sprint, basically, the way they build the solution they're building, and if they go beyond that, where they build solutions in general. The whole goal as you step into this as a team is to say, this is something we want to solve. This is where we're at. And then each time you go through it, you want to be able to do better, so that where you say, this is where we're at, that should be in a better situation, a better place after every single Scrum. That is, in a nutshell, the roles and really the objective of Scrum. Is you got your product owner, you got your Scrum Master, you got your development team. They work together, and if they do it right, they are going to build a great solution, and they're going to be better at doing it when they get to that last sprint than they were at the first one.